ফেনখন সুইচ অন কৰা না প্লিজ এইপিনে টাৰ্ণ কৰি দিবা হা Thank you. Okay. So what we were discussing, we have started the lesson called as biological classification, and what we were discussing was the first part of the lesson where we have to study the contribution of certain workers and scientists, right? Since we have already given the note in the form of a PDF, we are just reading that note. We were reading that note and understanding from the PDF itself. We had nothing to write on that. So since we did not complete it, so hekini ami complete koru aji. You hear scientists or contribution. Jar nai, y'all please share. Okay. Okay. What you do is number 5 onwards. I think we need to study, right? So tarpora eta fast eta reading korasun. Kiba buji poa nai niki swa. We have talked about the contribution of Bentham and Hooker in the last class, right? For those of the students who were absent, read at home, bring the notes to the class, okay? Contribution number 5. PDF opera. তোমালোকৰ তাত PDF নাই? আছে? কৰি লোৱা। ফাষ্ট। আজি এতিয়া চেণ্টেন কৰি থাকিব নালাগে, এটা তাৰ পৰাই তুমি চাই লোৱা। Number 5. বাকীখিনি আমি কৰিলোঁ। AW Inkler. So AW Inkler gave the first key, underline the word phylogenetic classification, right? Classification boli kole what we come across is 3 words, eta hol artificial, eta hol natural, aru eta hol phylogenetic, right? Artificial classification boli koa loge loge when we talk about classification beleg dhoronor classification, types of classification beleg asile. We come across 3 words. Artificial, natural, aru phylogenetic. Ekhini ami likhisu already, right? So artificial classification. Etia Inkler gave which type of a classification? Phylogenetic classification, right? Talking about this 3, what we remember, kunkhon classification of artificial boli kobo, junkhon classification based only on morphology, right? Classification mane ki hoy? Arrangement, right? Organism eta groups into subgroups ot arrange koribo lagibo, aru when you are doing the classification, if you are considering only the morphology of the organism, tethal tak ami ki boli ko? Artificial boli ko, right? So only morphological characters were considered. Right? And the next is a natural classification. Natural classification or classify eta organism of naturally classified, but natural classification is a dibo lagile. What are the characters you need to follow is considered is morphology, anatomy, cytology, যিকোনো এটা অর্গানিজমক অকল মরফোলজি টু চাই পেলাই যদি ক্লাসিফাই করো আর্টিফিশিয়াল, যদি এইকেইটা ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক চাই পেলাই ক্লাসিফাই করো ইট ইজ কল্ড এজ ফাইলোজেনেটিক, সরি নেচারাল। এন্ড ইফ ইউ আর টকিং অ্যাবাউট ফাইলোজেনেটিকত কি হবো? দিস রাইট। সো ইভলিউশন যদি কনসিডার করো তেতিয়াহ'লে এই গোটেইবিলাক টুগেডাৰ উইথ দ্যাট ইভলিউশ্যন কনচিডাৰ কৰিলে তাক আমি কি বুলি ক'ম? ফাইলোজেনেটিক বুলি ক'ম। অকল এইখিনি যদি কনচিডাৰ কৰোঁ উইদাউট ইভলিউশ্যন তেতিয়াহ'লে নেচাৰেল বুলি ক'ম, আৰু অনলি মৰ্ফলজি হ'লে কি হ'ব? আৰ্টিফিচিয়েল বুলি ক'ম। আই থিংক উই আণ্ডাৰষ্টুড দ্য টাৰ্মছ, ৰাইট? নাও AW Inkler gave what type of classification? Phylogenetic classification. I think we understood the term now, right? So according to him plant kingdom to কেনেকৈ ডিভাইড কৰিছিলে? দুটা গ্ৰুপত, এটা হ'ল ক্ৰিপ্টোগ্যামিয়া আৰু এটা হ'ল Phanerogamia. What is cryptogamia? Plants without flowers, or phanerogamia? Plants with flowers. Plant kingdom দুভাগত ভাগ কৰিছে, flowering plants আৰু non flowering plants. Flowering plants or নাম কি দিছে? Phanerogams বা phanerogamia, আৰু non flowering plants কি কৈছে? Cryptogamia, right? So when you talk about cryptogams and phanerogams, এইখিনি আমি লাষ্ট ক্লাছত কৰিছো নেকি? নাই কৰা ন? So কি কৰিছিলে? প্ল্যান্ট কিংডমক লিখা আছে যেহেতু আৰু নিলিখো আৰু তোমালোকেও লিখিব নালাগে অলৰেডি নোটত আছে হা প্ল্যান্ট কিংডমক কি কৰিছিলে right so etu ki hoy cryptogams phanerogamia or phanerogams right cryptogamia ba cryptogams mane non flowering plants phanerogams ba phanerogamia it included the flowering plants right it are non flowering plants or flowering kungita we know that plants has been classified under kiman groups 5 groups algae bryophytes pteridophytes gymnosperms or angiosperms out of this flowers kar ase angiosperms or flowers ase right gymnosperm eta example ko jekono eta gymnosperm example pine pinus cycas Shillong bole ami dekhisu no pine gos bilakot so those are examples of gymnosperms pine or phool dekhisa niki have you seen the flowers no actually they have flower like characters right they do not have exactly they do not have a flower angiosperms bilakot flower ase gymnosperms are flower like characteristics ase he kane ei dutak ami ki boli kom phanerogams right talking about algae bryophytes and pteridophytes sahanto kuno dhoroner flowers nai so they belong to what cryptogams right so bryophytes pteridophytes to cryptogam algae ami thelophytes buliu ko kiho karone ko ami jeta plant kingdom pori we will understand because of their plant body right so eta cryptogamia phanerogamia monot understood na go to the next classification just read kiba word buji poa nai niki swa ekini clear flower like characteristics flower like characteristics means tahator jintu have you seen the cone of pine that looks like a flower so that is not a flower but that's flower like so they have flower like characteristics right so if you talk about a structure called as flower tete hole that petals sepals sob thakibo lagibo but if you are talking about that cone it does not have that right so they will be having flower like characteristics angiosperms will have flowers all right okay please read the next part jedi buji paisa we can go fast Oswald Tippo kenuka dhoroner classification disile phylogenetic classification phylogenetic mane ki we understood no evolution consider koribo what he has done he has divided the plant kingdom into two groups olop agoteu duta group ot divide korise different scientists or beleg dhoroner classification right so eonoke ki korise divided the plant kingdom into two groups on the basis of ki on the basis of embryo present na embryo absent right so plant kingdom on the basis of embryo he has divided into two groups junbilak plantot embryo ase ar junbilak plantot embryo nai is the point clear right so those that have embryo would be called as ki embryophyta and those without embryo would be called as thelophyte what's clear thelophytes olop agote ki koisile algae bilakok ki buli koy thelophytes buli koy so algae this side baki ekini so when we talk about embryophytes kun bilak groups poribo bryophytes onwards right plant buli kole we always have to remember that they are divided into 5 groups algae pra angiosperms ologe right thelophytes kuntu algae so bryophytes onwards ki hobo embryophytes buli kobo ha embryophytes ki ho karone koy karon embryo thake now what is a embryo But embryo is a product of ki sexual reproduction I think we know whenever we talk about sexual reproduction, no, eta male gamete thakibo, eta female gamete thakibo. Duita fuse kori pelai eta twice and structure form koribo, that would be called as ki? Zygote. Zygote to a cell division undergo kori pelai will form a collection of cells, and that would be called as ki? Embryo. Right? So jetia sexual reproduction hoy, sexual reproduction hoy pisa jetia zygote form kore, zygote jedi tumar cell division kore, tar pisot eta group of cells form kore, tak ami ki boli koy embryo. Now yate aru eta point ase, when you talk about cell division, how many types of cell division you all know? Mitosis, meiosis, shunisa agote? Mitosis, meiosis, right? So cell division either mitosis hobo pare ba meiosis hobo pare. Normal condition jot ami koisu no, zygote ki hoy eta cell, embryo ki hoy collection of cells, right? Zygote or ploidy kiman? Twice n. Embryo ploidy kiman? Twice n. Tame etu cell or prai to form korise. Tale etu cell jodi twice n hoy, ekiniu twice n hobo. Jodi etu cell, mother cell or daughter cell gita eke ase ploidy, tete hale kenuka dhonor cell division undergo korise? Mitosis. Jodi mother cell twice n hoy aru tahate daughter cell n form kore, tete hale kenuka dhonor ki form koribo? Meiosis. So ki hoy plants bilakor jetia sexual reproduction hoy, tahate jetia zygote form kore, zygote to depending on mitosis undergo korise ne meiosis undergo korise, embryo form hobo ba nohoy. Right? Jedi mitosis undergo kore, titiahe embryo form hobo. Jedi meiosis undergo kore, hitu enake ghuri ako n form koribo. Right? Hitu twice n cell form koribo niki meiosis or kare nokore no. So ekidi ebilak gutei concept ami plant kingdom or besi bhalke dia ase, so we'll be learning at that time. As of now, we are talking about a classification on the basis of which, I mean on the basis of which plant kingdom has been classified, taking into consideration presence or absence of embryo. Jedi embryo ase tak ami ki boli koy embryophyta, jedi nai it is called as thallophyta. So thallophyta ki poribo algae, yate ki poribo bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms. Clear? Ako eta ki korise, these group of plants no gute embryophyta khinik ako dubhagot bhag korise. Look into the chart. So embryophyta dubhagot bhag korise on the basis of ki? Yate jeneke on the basis of embryo divide korise, yate jiman bilak embryo e gute plants bilakot embryo ase, etia next character ki saise je vascular bundle ase ne nai. Etu eta classification, so duta character consider korise. First character ki consider korise? Embryo. Embryo ase ne embryo nai, based on that two words, embryophytes or thallophytes. Next ki consider korise je junbilak embryophytes ase tahator vascular bundles ase nai, jedi ase tahator tracheophytes kom, jedi nai tahator atracheity kom. Ako ebilak words ami plant kingdom ot porhim. Now talking about this one, jeneke embryo we understood, vascular bundles mane ki xylem aru phloem. Right? So plants or xylem phloem nathake. Right? So based on je xylem aru phloem ase nai, right? Based on that they are divided into two groups. Xylem aru phloem kak lagibo? Land plants bilakok lagibo. Right? So land plants bilakor ki hoy tante to panit goza nai no, so to take the water they will require a tube like structure. That is what we are talking about, the xylem. Right? Junbilak plants already pani ba water based conditioner grow kore, exactly marine buli koa nai ba water plants buli koa nai, water atmosphere grow kore, tahatok pani absorb koribo lagile eta special tube na lage, they can absorb the water through the entire body surface. Kintu junbilak plants land out grow kore, they cannot be absorbing water through the entire body surface. Leaves ere pani lobo noare. Right? Baki stems ere pani lobo noare, so tahatok pani lobole ki lagibo, a tube lagibo, and that is what we are talking about, the xylem. So xylem and phloem vascular bundles, car core thakibo, land plants bilakor thakibo. Right? Talking about land plants, land out of all these plants, kun bilak plants land hoy ba proper land plants buli kole which start from pteridophytes. Vascular bundles have started developing from the pteridophytes itself, right? So ekhini pora ihotor xylem phloem ase, ihotor ase, kintu well developed nai. Is the point clear? Okay. So non-vascular plants are vascular plants. Understood? Bryophytes or vascular bundles nai, or xylem phloem nai, pteridophytes onwards xylem phloem ase. Okay. Next one, Carlmans showed the importance of serology. A gute part to prana Carlmans or teneke eko specific questions aha nai. Jodi ahe, who has given the concept of serology? That is the only line that he will remember, right? What is serology? That likha ase swa. Side likha ase study of the protein structure. Gute paragraph to pori swa. First read that paragraph. So question ki ahibo, who has given the concept of serology? Carlmans. What is serology? Eblak nahe. Structure of protein, no? So structure, protein structure sai pelai duta organism or major relationship to you can just study. For example, we know man or human beings has been evolved from chimpanzee. Keneke gom palu kunubai to kiba kibi test korise no tetiahe gom paise. Now we know because someone has already proved it and showed the evidences, so we say that human beings has evolved from chimpanzee. But tahate ki korise, they did a serological study. What they have done is chimpanzee kunba ata cellor protein structure kini porisile, right? Human beings oru cellor ki porisile, protein structure kini porisile. When they have compared this and this, kisuman similarities paisile, kisuman dissimilarities paisile. So jedi basic similarities pai between two organisms, it is concluded that maybe one is evolved from the other. Jedi etu aru etu fully different hoy, te tahator maje kono relation na thakibo. Jedi ihotor aru ihotor protein structure to same hoy, same mane exact same no hoy, bahut kini same hoy, tetihale we believe that this organism might have evolved from this. Is the point clear? So protein structure porhi palai, you try to classify, and that study of the protein structure would be called as serology. Is the point clear? Who has given the concept? Carlmans, right? Next one. Carl Wood. Next, upor chosun Carl Woodor uporot ki likha ase R.H. Whittaker. Dekhisa ne? Point number kiman ba? 8 R.H. Whittaker. R.H. Whittaker ki likha ase 5 kingdom. Kintu etu explain kora nai because this is something that we are going to explain little later, right? So we know the classification ki hoy etu parte korim aji jete classification process to arambho hoisile. It is not the 5 kingdom classification that was ekdom I mean it is very ancient, no? Classification system to ki hoise gradually develop korise. Ancient workers bilake classification keneke korisil, they believed in the 2 kingdom classification system where all the organisms were divided into plants and animals. Classify korar pisot ki hoise easier hoi goise no study koribole. Agote scientists bilake keneke classify korisil, jiman bilak organisms asil, either it has to be a plant or it has to be an animal. That is what is called as 2 kingdom. Gradually improve hoi ajikali ami ki pao 5 kingdom classification, right? A 5 kingdom classification, what does it say? It says that je jiman bilak organisms in this world ase gute organisms bilakok 5ta kingdom ot group koribo pari. Bacteria eta, unicellular eta, prokaryotes eta, fungi eta, plants eta, animals eta, right? So this is what is called as 5 kingdom. Kune disile R.H. Whittaker, hetu ami olop pisat korim. So we have just skipped that. We come to the next one. No doubt 5 kingdom classification is accepted, kintu 6 kingdom classification bula bostu eta ase, right? 6 kingdom classification kune disile, Carl Wood disile. So you need to remember the name of the scientist. 6 kingdom classification accept hoisen nai. No doubt it has been given, kintu fully study kora complete hua nai. Sekarne we are not accepting it as of now. Ami jikono eta bostu classify koribo lagile, we always follow the 5 kingdom classification. That does not mean 6 kingdom nai. 6 kingdom classification of scientists e dise. Kintu ami follow ki koru 5 kingdom classification. Kihor karone? Karon heikon still under research, right? Okay, yeah.
6 kingdom ki?
6ta kingdom ki? Yeah, hetu korim. So, Carl Woodor kotha pori aso. What he has given? First one, he has given the six kingdom classification important point on the basis of ki on the basis of কিবা এটা বস্তু পঢ়ি পেলাই তো ক্লাসিফিকেশন এখন দিব লাগিব ন সো রাইবোজোমাল স্টাডি কৰি পেলাই এখন ক্লাসিফিকেশন দিছিলে now what is a ribosome ribosome details again we'll be studying in the chapter called as cell the unit of life right whenever we talk about a cell either a plant cell or an animal cell cellor bhitorot cytoplasm protoplasm tar bhitor organelles bilak thake na thake jeneke nucleus thake mitochondria thake right teneke aru eta bostu ki thake aru eta organelle ki thake ribosomes thake right ribosomes are also called as ki protein factory so tahate ki kore protein banay cell eta ki lagibo protein na lagibo jano so protein kune banabo ribosomes banabo so jikono eta cellor eta constituent eta organelle ki hoy ribosome so hey ribosome to kenekua hoy dekhat ki kore keneka ki function kore based on that ribosomal study Carl Wood has developed a new system of classification that is called as six kingdom details about ribosome we'll study later ere yar pra question ki ahe tinta question first six kingdom classification kune disile it is based on what it is based on 16s ribosome type of ribosome right we have 70s ribosome 80s ribosome 16s ribosome pisot porim ami ribosome upor study kune korisile next is the third point is what is the sixth kingdom ami olop agote ki kolu je when we are talking about ancient studies no organisms bilakok ki hot divide korisile plants aru animals kiman kingdom etu two kingdom or pisot ki develop korile three kingdom or pisot ki develop korile four kingdom tar pisot ki develop korile five kingdom tar pisot ki develop korile six kingdom eta jodi moi question kudo that two kingdom classification of what are the two kingdoms ki koba plants and animals or Plantae and Animalia is a point clear question to buji paisa two kingdom classification of kingdom kita ki plant or animal thik teneke five kingdom classification of organisms bilakok kiman group of divide korisile 5 ki asile Monera Protista Fungi Plantae Animalia so if I ask you what is the fifth kingdom eto pasta ase no fifth puli kak consider koriba as far as this and this is concerned igita to agor pra asile part of the second classification right thik teneke etu hobo third classification etu hobo fourth classification so what is the fifth classification teneke will be talking on the basis of certain characteristics fifth kingdom kuntu hoy fungi next is thik teneke sixth kingdom kuntu hoy as of now it will be little tough to understand because we have not done the fifth kingdom sixth kingdom classification ki likha ase eukarya archaea dise right archaea dise bacteria yate 5 khon agote koribo lage tetia he bostu tu so fifth kingdom classification on Monera Protista Fungi Plantae algae right Monera ki porisile Monera is a kingdom of do we understand the words prokaryote or eukaryote yes so Monera is a kingdom of prokaryotes right baki rest kingdom of eukaryotes clear prokaryote eukaryote janu no okay so Monera is a kingdom of prokaryote Monera ki poribo the best example that we talk about a type of Monera is bacteria kintu Monera kiman types or 7 types or right okol bacteria is an example of Monera tenukwa nohoy right we have something called as bahut kita ase another thing that we have is archaebacteria right according to five kingdom classification bacteria aru archaebacteria ekelage thoisile sixth kingdom classification kon archaebacteria beleg eta kingdom kori dise he karone ki hol six hoi gol ne nai bacteria thakibo aru archaebacteria beleg ke thakibo so that is the sixth kingdom is the point clear right next so what did I say sixth kingdom classification or ki points poriba first poriba Carl Wood second poriba 16s ribosomes right third poriba what is the sixth kingdom archaebacteria ba archaea fourth is Carl Wood has given a word called as domain right at a word so concept of domain to kune disile concept of domain to Carl Wood disile code disile sixth kingdom classification or disile right domain what is domain Domain is nothing but a super kingdom. আমি taxonomic hierarchy পঢ়িছিলো ন? Remember this? Living world, right? So এইবিলাক কি হয়? এটা category highest কি হয়? Kingdom. So commonly আমি এখন পঢ়ো 6 kingdom classification or মতে kingdom or ওপৰত আৰু এটা বস্তু আছে, that is called as is the point here, right? So who has given the concept of domain? Carlos. Code disile 6 kingdom. Next kiman according to him organisms bilak kibanta super kingdom or divide korisile 3. Bostu kini buzi pala? Carlos 6 kingdom classification. What is the 6th kingdom? Classification based on ribosomes. Next he has given the concept of domain. How many domains? 3 domains. Domains is equal to ki super kingdom. Eta gute paragraph to pori soa and see whether you have understood or you have doubts. Five kingdom or 6 kingdom or basic difference eta point of jodi kobole jao archibacteria or bacteria ekelaget hoisile 5 kingdom or 6 kingdom or duita ke beleg kori dile ekane eta kingdom besi hoi gol. Clear? Read the paragraph. Clear? Ekoro doubts nai? Okay. So ekhini asile first part of the lesson jonni ki ami various workers and their contributions poriso. Now we'll go to the basic part jonni ki ami classification system porim. Heading koriba classification system. We'll have to write it now. Huh? Kingdom system, sorry. Huh? Oh, that is eukarya is equal to eukaryotes. Eketai, right? So we'll be studying about the different types of classification, sorry, kingdom system. What we know, agote ki korisile organisms or matra duta class, I mean ki duta kingdom me asile. Either it has to be a plant or it has to be an animal. Kintu 2 kingdom classification or kisman drawback asile. Hey karne, a new kingdom system that was 3 kingdom was proposed. 3 kingdom also had certain drawbacks. So 4 kingdom and finally what we have is a 5 kingdom. Right? So we'll write the things first and then we'll explain. Criteria is also important. Everything is important. Over. Over now? Okay. So talking about two kingdom classification, everything is important over here. So first question, who has given it? Linnaeus. What are the two kingdoms? Plants and animals. So what did Linnaeus do? All the organisms that were present were divided into either plant or animals. On the basis of what? Right? যিকোনো এখন ক্লাসিফিকেশন দিব লাগিলে তাৰ কিবা এটা বেসিস থাকিব লাগিব যে মই এটো বেসিছত ক্লাসিফাই কৰিছো তেও কি বেসিছত ক্লাসিফাই কৰিছিল he has given the classification on the basis of these 3 points. What are 3 points? Criteria for classification. I think we understand this point, right? So criteria for classification, যিকোনো এটা organism দেখোতে the first point that he has considered is sedentary or motile. Sedentary or motile. Sedentary মানে কি? যেনে non motile. যেনে মুভ কৰিব নোৱাৰে মোটাইল মানে কি মুভ right so যিকোনো এটা organism suppose he discovered the organism সেই organism the first point কি চাইছিলে মুভ কৰিব পাৰে নে নোৱাৰে যদি মুভ কৰিব পাৰে what did he do animal kingdom ত হৈছিলে যদি মুভ কৰিব নোৱাৰে plant kingdom ত হৈছিলে so that was his first criteria second is he next কি study কৰিছিলে presence or absence of the cell wall যোনটো organism suppose he has discovered an organism A প্ৰথমতে কি চাইছিলে move নে cannot move নে cannot move right first second কি চাইছিলে যে A animal to cell to study কৰিছিলে cell to cell wall আছে নে cell wall নাই right I think you have read about the differences between a plant cell and an animal cell right one of the basic differences কাৰ cell wall আছে কাৰ cell wall নাই plants or cell wall আছে আৰু animals or cell wall নাই so again what he has done a organism to cell to কৰিছিলে cell to যদি plant wall sorry cell wall আছে he has put it in the plant group যদি cell wall নাই he has put it in the animal group third is mode of nutrition whenever we talk about nutrition we talk about two types of nutrition কি type of nutrition either it is a autotroph or it is a heterotroph either নিজৰ খোৱা বস্তু নিজে বনাব or বেলেগৰ পৰা লব right so organism তে যদি নিজৰ খোৱা বস্তু নিজে বনাইছিলে তাক plant বুলি কনসিডাৰ কৰিছিল যদি নাই বনোৱা তাক animal বুলি কনসিডাৰ কৰিছিল so this was on the basis of these 3 points that this classification system was given kintu this was not accepted because of the demerit why it was not accepted কারণ এখন ক্লাসিফিকেশন এখন প্রপার ক্লাসিফিকেশন নাছিলে কিহৰ কাৰণে ক্লাসিফিকেশন খনে কোনো ধৰণৰ অৰ্গানিজমটোৰ বিষয় কোৱা নাই যে অৰ্গানিজমটো ইউক্যাৰিওটিক অৰ্গানিজম হয় নে প্ৰকাৰিওটিক অৰ্গানিজম হয় কি ইউনিসেলুলাৰ হয় নে আই মিন মাল্টিসেলুলাৰ অৰ্গানিজম কাৰণ আমি জানো যে অৰ্গানিজমছ বিলাক সব অৰ্গানিজমটো একেই নহয় কিছুমান অৰ্গানিজমছ ইউনিসেলুলাৰ আছে কিছুমান অৰ্গানিজমছ মাল্টিসেলুলাৰ আছে হয় না কিছুমান অৰ্গানিজম ইউক্যাৰিওট আছে কিছুমান অৰ্গানিজম প্ৰকাৰিওট আছে গোটেইখিনি বস্তু এটা জায়গাত থৈ দিলে that would obviously not be a proper classification right so he could not say anything about all this khali ki korise either plant or animal and to prove this point we have given two examples two kingdom classification e jikono eta organism either plant by animal koise but we have certain organisms that has both plant like and animal like so nature ot ami euglena o pao ami slime mold o pao eta according to two kingdom classification euglena tumi plant buliu kobo nora animal buliu kobo nora right so euglena is an organism bilake jone niki plant like character dekhai animal like character dekhai a organism to in the two kingdom classification kot thoba plant buli to kobo nwara animal buli kobo nwara so that was one drawback similar is a condition for slime molds is another organism that has both plant like and animal like so two kingdom classification divided all the organisms into plants and animals but we have certain organisms that could not be included in the two kingdom classification. Is the point clear? As far as euglena and slime molds is concerned, I mean, any details are for him in this chapter itself, right? We will be talking about a kingdom called as Protista. Protista, duita bostu for him, right? Photosynthetic protist or fungi-like protist, right? As of now, euglena, they had a plant-like, animal-like, duita characteristics. It forms a link between plants and animals. Keteba question I have, what is the plant-like character of euglena? It is autotroph. Autotroph means it can prepare its own food. Own food means photosynthetic, right? Kintu autotroph means prepare its own food. Food preparation method to ki boli kom? Photosynthesis. I mean, euglena is photosynthetic, right? If it has to do photosynthesis, then photosynthesis hobo lage light lagibo na lage. Photosynthesis hobo lage, the most important thing is light itself. Light ote photosynthesis hoy. So euglena ki kore jetia light pai, he plant like hoi thake. Photosynthesis kore. Jetia light na pai, it starts absorbing food. He nijok khwa bostu nohoy engulf kore. Jeneke amoeba. Jano no, amoeba ki kore? Gili loy. Animals ki kore? Gili diye. Ami nijor bostu nije banao niki? No koro no. We engulf, we eat, we ingest. Human beings ingest kore, mukhere khai. Right? Kisuman organism engulf kori loy, amoeba. So absorption is obviously an animal-like characteristic. So etu ase plant buliu kobo nore, animal buliu kobo na, yar kunu tate consider kora nai. Right? Similar slime molds, I think we understood. Right? It absorbs food and second is move. If it absorbs food, it has to be an animal. If it moves, it has to be an animal. Kintu, it behaves like a plant as a time of reproduction. Tamane ki kore? Plant-like character, we are talking about a character called as formation of spore. Tahate ki form kore? Spore form kore. And formation of spore is an animal-like character. Spores thakibo, eta spore bag thakibo, tat spores thakibo, spores would disperse over tapre adal plant ulabo. That is called as spores. We will study everything later. As of now, is the two kingdom classification understood? Right? So it's not a proper classification. It does not classify organisms on the basis of all this. So we do not accept it. So there was a need of a three kingdom classification. Next heading kora, three kingdom classification. Hetu kot thoba. Eya obviously so prothom classification ton primitive asil tat thobo nwarilu. Nwarile ami tahanok pelai to dibo nwaru, kobat to thoboli. So gradual development hoy. As far as at the time when five kingdom classification got developed, every organism had a specific area. Thik ase tahate slime molds belong to Protista. Ei duita se example diso. They belong to a kingdom called as Protista. Protista is a kingdom of five kingdom classification, right? Huh? Five kingdom classification is like a drawbacks nai. He can't it's still accepted. You know, actually, sabole drawback ase karne to six kingdom hoy gol. Five kingdom classification drawback ki je bacteria or archaebacteria duita ekelege thoise. Bacteria or archaebacteria duita beleg. He can't to six kingdom. Sixth kingdom ki archaebacteria bilakom at a specific kingdom di dile. Because they have specific characteristics, right? So five kingdom classification or drawback hateway, he can't six kingdom classification. Kintu six kingdom classification kon itialke accept korne because study research soli ase, right? Aru kiba kibi changes hobo pare. Three kingdom system or three kingdom classification system ji likha. গোটেইকেইটা ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হেকল ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট what is the third kingdom important third kingdom Protista is a kingdom of কাম কৰা unicellular organisms বুলি লিখিলে হ'ব eukaryotes লিখিলে হ'ব unicellular বাৰু unicellular eukaryotes second kingdom classification বা two kingdom classification খনৰ demerit কি আছিলে eukaryotes আৰু prokaryotes of differentiate কৰিব পৰা নাই কি third kingdom of এটা unicellular eukaryotes or এটা বেলেগ kingdom কৰি দিলে নাই তাৰ মানে prokaryotes আৰু eukaryotes differentiate কৰিলে নাই কৰিলে so third kingdom was developed কাৰণ এখিনি drawback আছিলে এই drawback খিনি গুছাব লাগিব গুটেইখিনি গুছাই পেলাই what is the kingdom system that we got five kingdom classification right so তাৰ পৰা question কি আহে who has proposed it what is the third kingdom বুলি ক'লে তিনটা kingdom থাকিব লাগিব first দুটা কি Plantae and Animalia what is the third one Protista next question that is asked is Protista is a kingdom of first question prokaryotes and eukaryotes obviously eukaryotes second question unicellular and multicellular unicellular right so Protista is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes so as we said আমি five kingdom হন পঢ়া নাই তথাপি আমি জানো যে five kingdom কি থাকে Monera Protista Fungi Plantae আৰু Animalia right Monera is a kingdom of prokaryotes বাকি সব eukaryotes right so এটো পঢ়া নাই এতিয়া লগে তথাপি সোয়া five kingdom কি থাকে Monera Protista Fungi Plantae Animalia right later we will study eta lake likha pahra nai likha nai likhibo na lage this is a kingdom purely for prokaryotes these are a kingdom for eukaryotes kintu eukaryotes divided into eukaryote unicellular eukaryote থাকিব পাৰে multicellular eukaryote থাকিব পাৰে so unicellular eukaryote কোন বিলাক multicellular eukaryote কোন বিলাক this one is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes তাৰ মানে Protista কি থাকিব বাকি এই বিলাক multicellular eukaryotes is the point clear next লিখা four kingdom classification two kingdom কি আছিলে organisms or Plantae Animalia তাৰ পিছত কি ডেভেলপ কৰিলে three kingdom কি আহিলে Protista four kingdom আহিলে four kingdom কি আহিলে Monera is the point clear so Plantae Animalia already asile Protista third kingdom Monera fourth kingdom What you know about Plantae? All plants. Animalia, all animals. Protista, unicellular eukaryotes. Monera, prokaryote. Two kingdom classification khone prokaryote eukaryote differentiate kora nai, unicellular multicellular differentiate kora nai, kintu etia loke ami almost pai golu. Still then something is missing. What is missing? Fungi, right? Okay, etu hol. ইয়াৰ তলত লিখিবা 4 কিংডম ক্লাসিফিকেশনৰ তলতে লিখিবা হা এটা পইণ্ট 5 কিংডম হেডিং নকৰিবা তাৰ পিছত হেডিং 5 কিংডম ক্লাসিফিকেশন কৰিবা টু কিংডম খনৰ ডিমেৰিট আছিলে সেইকাৰণে থাৰ্ড হ'ল থাৰ্ডত কিবা নাছিলে কাৰণে ফোৰ্থ হ'ল ফোৰ্থত কিবা এটা বস্তু ল্যাকিং আছিলে that gave the weight for the proposal of the fifth kingdom classification. So the question is, who has proposed it? Whitaker, 5 kingdom. What is the fifth kingdom? Fungi, right? Roll. Two kingdom classification or jimanbur drawback asile. Gutei drawback has been explained in the five kingdom. Two kingdom could not differentiate between prokaryotes, eukaryotes. Five kingdom could differentiate between prokaryotes, eukaryotes. Five kingdom or prokaryotes bilakor karneo kingdom ase, eukaryotes bilakor karneo specific kingdom ase. Right? Unicellular karneo kingdom ase, multicellular organisms or karneo carry ase. Ki ase kingdom ase. So all the demerits were explained. Right? It is a question kiya hai. First of who has proposed what is the fifth kingdom fungi. From board's point of view, gutekhini ahibo five kingdom classification, so you have to write the whole details, right? Criteria for classification question ahe. So criteria for classification from board's point of view, all the five. Entrance point of view, question ahe, what is the criteria for the classification of five kingdom system? Tat tumar iman to details nidiye. Aru question to চাৰিটা অপশন থাকে ন সো চাৰিটা অপশন এ পাঁচটাও থাকিব পাৰে এ চাৰিটাও থাকিব পাৰে বেলেগও থাকিব পাৰে ইফ সাপোজ আ কোয়েশ্চন ইজ আস্কড দ্যাট হোৱাট ইজ দ্য ক্ৰাইটেৰিয়া ফৰ ফাইভ কিংডম ক্লাছিফিকেশন আৰু ইয়াৰ এইটা আছে তেতিয়াহলে তুমি যিকোনো এটাহে চুজ কৰিব লাগিব সো which one are you going to choose always remember five kingdom classification কি আহিছিলে fungi on the basis of কি nutrition. So what is the most important criteria for proposing the five kingdom classification, or the five kingdom classification is based on mode of nutrition, right? It is always based on mode of nutrition. So what we have talked about is the classification system, two kingdom or five kingdom. Which one we accept? Five kingdom. Six kingdom ase, it will be followed by the five kingdom classification, right? So all the five kingdoms we need to study in details in this chapter. So obviously biological classification is comparatively a very long chapter. Kan pasta kingdom poribo libo kintu pasta kingdom holeo plant kingdom, Animalia, animal kingdom, separate chapters, right? Okay, so itia board or eta bostu. So what we have studied, the five kingdom classification or mote organisms bilakok keita kingdoms are divide korisile five. What are the five kingdoms? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae aru Animalia. Etia এই যে সিকোয়েন্সটো লিখিছো এই সিকোয়েন্সটো লিখা what is the purpose, it talks about evolution, right? So suppose say ancient organism, suppose say primitive organism, obviously bacteria, suppose say advanced organism, etia jikini organisms ase, right? So ultimately suppose say ancient, suppose say advanced. So five kingdom classification also talks about evolution of the organism, right? Etia duta diagram ase, pasta kingdom ase no. এনেকে কিয় লিখিছো arrowhead talks about its evolution, right? দুটা diagram ইয়াতো 5টা কিংডম আছে তাতো 5টা কিংডম আছে right we are talking about evolution so what do you think which diagram or which chart is correct from evolution point of view kuntu diagram boli noko aru whatever schematic diagram is correct first one ne second one ne first one 5 kingdom e ki koisile 5টা kingdom ase 5টা kingdom arrange eneke korise on the basis of ki on the basis of evolution so ancient ki monera organisms bilak okoman evolve hoi pelai next kingdom form korise that is protista so yato 5টা kingdom ase this is also 5 kingdom here also it talks about evolution here also it talks about evolution but the correct one is obviously this one right what is the difference between this and this yate ki koise the first step is common right monerar pura organisms bilak evolve hoi pelai protista hoise right so bacteria pura ba prokaryotes pura evolve hoi eukaryotes hoise protista jiman bilak eukaryotes ase gutei bilak fungi hoi goise niki nai gutei fungi bilak plants hoi goise niki gutei plants bilak animals hoi goise niki nai so this is wrong right what is correct is prokaryotes got evolved into eukaryotes eukaryotes or protista kisuman fungi nisna protista ase kisuman plants develop korise kisuman animals develop korise right so that is the reason why later we will study protista is a kingdom that is also called as a junk box buji pao junk you keep all the junk in an area horat jikono bostu eta nalagile eta corner thake ba eta drawer thake jot niki khumai thoi diu right so this is the only kingdom jot niki highest number of organisms thake diverse numbers of organisms thake by the word diverse what I mean is whenever we talk about Plantae it includes only plants if I talk about animals it includes if I talk about Animalia kingdom dot ki thakibo okol animals thakibo Plantae kingdom dot ki thakibo okol plants thakibo Monera ki thakibo okol prokaryotes thakibo kintu Protista is one kingdom where it will have fungi like organisms it will have plant like organisms it will have animal like organisms also kuno belek kingdom ot iman diverse organisms na thake sobote eta type thake Animalia okol animals thake plants ot okol plants thake right kintu Protista different types of organisms ekhan tak ki boli koise junk box boli koise will study so this is correct and this is wrong yeah it is because everything is eukaryote no everything is eukaryote so everything is evolved from Protista group right ete heading kora Monera So, eta kingdom details. So, before going into details, some of the points that we already know. First, Monera is the kingdom of ki? Prokaryotes, eukaryotes ki hoy? Prokaryotes, right? So, Monera first point that we know, it's a kingdom of prokaryotes. Second point, it is the most ancient kingdom, right? Third point, bacteria belongs to Monera. Fourth point, Monera boli kole okol bacteria no hoy. There are 7 to 8 types of Monera. Out of them, 5 types we need to study. Is the point clear? So these are the things that we'll be studying, right? So note to likho. It will be easy to understand. Likh. So, pura sentence ot likha nai most ancient organisms boli kole we understand that Monera is a kingdom that includes the most ancient organisms ma pura sentence likha nai We are writing about the characteristics of the kingdom Monera. Huh?
Most widespread organism on
Earth, ubiquitous, ubiquitous, ubiquitous means universal, universally present. What we are writing here is the characteristic of this kingdom, right? Characteristic of organisms belonging to this kingdom. So, likha hol niki? Almost nahi hua likha. Saccharides, Saccharide, polysaccharides. Many sugar together is equal to polysaccharide. Sugar molecules together. Monosaccharide, poly. Ebla poriba, sob poriba. Eta first introduce hoisa to ekan terms bila confusing laise. Jenake glucose, fructose, ebor ki hoy sugar molecule na. Saccharide. Hol likha? Okay. So, most ancient organisms we understood, nothing to explain, right? According to Whitaker, it is a kingdom of. So, question I have, Monera is a kingdom of. Monera is a kingdom of prokaryotes, but the kingdom of prokaryotes is, the kingdom of prokaryotes is Monera, right? Next is, it includes both autotrophs and heterotrophs. Mane, a kingdom to jiman bilak organisms ase, hey organisms bilak, so photosynthetic, ne non-photosynthetic ase. A kingdom of jiman bilak organisms ase, kisuman photosynthetic, kisuman non-photosynthetic. Question keneke hai? Give an example of a autotrophic Monera. Give an example of a heterotrophic Monera. So, it includes both, right? So, example of a autotrophic Monera is cyanobacteria. Example of a heterotrophic Monera could be bacteria, archaebacteria, mycoplasma, etc., etc. Right? So, maximum question has been asked on this. Karan Monera boli kole, the first example out of all the examples that we have written, the first example that we remember is always bacteria. Bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria ase, kintu less, right? So, he karne, jehetu Monera boli kole okol bacteria bhabu tenuka nohoy, bahut examples ase, right? So, eta Monera june niki nijok khwa bostu nije bonai. Cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae, if you have heard that word before, right? So, this one. So, this point is very important. Next is, this is a kingdom that belongs to organisms that are widespread. Bacteria kot thake. Monera ki thake? Bacteria thake. Bacteria kot thake? Bacteria jote jote thakibo pare. Right? When we talk about this word called as ubiquitous, universally present, and universally present talks about this fact also, that jikono eta organism or bahiroto thakibo pare, bhitoroto thakibo pare. Amar body bhitor bacteria ase na, obviously ase. The best example could be E. coli, right? E. coli bacteria intestine ase. So, bacteria blood, a kingdom or jibilak organisms, jote jote thakibo pare. Next, no doubt jote jote thakibo pare, tothapi it is a less known kingdom. Why is it less known? Because there are so many bacteria that has not yet been discovered, right? Jiman kini janise tatke bahut beshi ase, right? Okay. Next is the organisms that belong to this kingdom. The organisms that belongs to this kingdom, tahator cell wall ase ne nai. Bacteria boli kole, will be studying the structure of the bacteria. A bacteria hodai cell wall thake. Jihetu Monera boli kole bacteria monot poribo, and bacteria is something that we are going to study in details. So, bacteria cell wall ase, kintu sob Monerans or cell wall na thake, right? So, cell wall, it could be present, it could be absent. Present in case of bacteria, it is very common thing that we will study. So, the question has never been asked on this. Question has been asked on this. Give an example of a Monera that does not have a cell wall. Right? So, it does not have a cell wall is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma ki hoy? Eta Monera hoy. As I said, Monera okol bacteria nai. Archaebacteria Monera re part. Right? Mycoplasma Monera te ase. Mycoplasma ki hoy? Eta organism. Archaebacteria ki hoy? Eta organism. A organism belongs to which kingdom? Monera. So, example of a Monera that has a cell wall, that does not have a cell wall. So, mycoplasma does not have a cell wall. And mycoplasma tolot ki likhisu? Smallest bacteria, fungi, eblak ki hoy, microorganism nohoy jano, right? So, the smallest microorganism on earth, ako yat ami pisot pohim. Smallest microorganism with a cell wall, smallest microorganism without a cell wall. Smallest microorganism with a cell wall. Smallest microorganism without a cell wall. Is the point clear? So, jeneke he autotroph, heterotroph point to important, etu point to important, right? Cell wall seti ase. Cell wall is made up of, generally, ami jodi kom, eta cellot cell wall ase. Kar cell wall thake? Plant cell, right? And the cell wall is made up of what? Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Plant cell, jonto cell wall ase, he cell wall is made up of cellulose. Bacteria to cell wall ase, it is not made up of cellulose. Is the point here? So, when we talk about cell wall kar thakibo pare? Plants oru thakibo pare, aru bacteria thakibo pare, right? Plants or cell wall made up of cellulose. Yate ami pisot peptidoglycan boli bostu eta pore, not cellulose, right? Okay. Next, come to this point, locomotion. Locomotion mane movement. Bacteria etai eta jegar pra anto jegale move koribo pare ne? Obviously pare. Jedi move kore, tahator locomotory organ lagibo na lage. So, what do you have? But there are certain organisms in this kingdom which cannot move, right? Who cannot move? Cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is an autotroph, that cannot move, right? Tamane tahator flagella ase nai. Is the point clear? So junbilak absent ase no tahator upor question to basically ahise, right? Bacteria flagella eta moi jodi kom give an example of a Monera that can move. Bacteria can move, right? So yate example ki hobo? Bacteria hobo, right? Yate example ki hobo? Cyanobacteria. 2 more points. Next point likha reproduction. Ekin loge clear no? Akin ami bacteria ami pura details out korim. So how does the bacteria look like? What is the type of flagella it has? So baki. As of now, it is a thin thread-like structure. Suppose we are talking about this as a cell, no? Not necessarily adult thakibo, bohutu thakibo pore. Duta word shunisa niki? Cilia aru flagella, paramecium or diagrams ana? Something like this. We draw, right? Right? So eblak ki hoy cilia. So if you are talking about this flagella, right? Cilia, flagella, difference ase. Next one, locomotion hole, cell wall hole, it will likha reproduction. So locomotion eneke present by absent, nutrition buli kole just autotroph ba heterotroph. Reproduction, how many types of reproduction you all know? 2 types, sexual or asexual, right? So etia bacteria sexual reproduction thakibo ne asexual? Asexual reproduction. Kan lower organisms, no? And when you talk about asexual mode of reproduction, asexual mode buli kole types of asexual to ase. Heard about something called as binary fission. So binary fission is an example of sexual and asexual. Asexual. So bacteria can reproduce kore binary fission, right? Fragmentation word to okol junbilak organisms thread like hoy, digholia hoy, tahator he fragment hobo pare. Bacteria unicellular hoy, eta cellok fragment koribo nwara. Thread like hobo lagile multicellular hobo lagibo, right? Kintu fragmentation is also an example of asexual reproduction seen by some other organisms. So how many types of Monera are there? There are 8 types of Monera, and out of these 8 types, these are the 5 types that we need to study as far as NCERT book is concerned, right? So এই গুটেই 5টা টাইপৰ ডিটেইলছ পঢ়িব লাগিব। তাৰ ভিতৰত সবতছে বেছি ডিটেইল about bacteria, right? So Monera best example ki bacteria. The common bacteria that we talk about is an example of eubacteria. Eubacteria is nothing but a true bacteria, right? Apart from bacteria, iblaku ase, right? So I think that's all for today. What we have studied today is we have talked about the classification system, right? Classification system boli koa loge loge, is it only one classification that we see? No, it has been progressed from 2 kingdom classification to 6 kingdom classification. Which one do we accept? We accept the 5 kingdom. According to 5 kingdom, the points that are important we have marked it. According to 5 kingdom classification, how many kingdoms are there and what are the kingdoms? We know the names of the kingdoms, right? And plus it is the kingdom of dash. Jeneke Monera is the kingdom of prokaryotes, right? Your Protista is the kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes. We have started with Monera. Monera jinta points important hegira mark korilo. Reproduction, asexual mode, right? And types of Monera, 5 types. Kaile we have a class now, so we'll be starting with this one, right? Thank you. For tomorrow, eubacteria heading kori thoi dia, right? We'll not be going by this sequence, but out of this 5, eubacteria mane bacteria kothai sobotse besike poribo lage, right? Diagram, sob. Thank you.